Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? This is day this is day 3 of our six-figure series where I am going live every day for 7 days sharing with you all tricks, and secrets of how women of color can land a six-figure promotion and increase their salary. Whoop, whoop. This is in honor of open enrollment for my Fearless Branding Formula program. That is my signature mindset and personal branding program that helps women of color increase their salaries by $20,000 to $50,000 and land a six-figure promotion in 90 days, regardless of the job market. So, if you are interested in that program, you can just DM me. You can just DM me like six figure or interested, or you can go to sixfigurepromotions.com. Sixfigurepromotion.com. I will put the link in the comments. And you can go there. You can either book a call with me to learn more. You can read the page, or you can just directly enroll. The investment is $3,500, and my clients have loved that because they have 10x their investments with me. They have 10x their investment, and we offer payment plans. If you like to use a payment plan, we have payment plans as low as like $169 a month. So I'm very excited to be bringing this to you all. I'm very excited to be talking about it, to have these series. It has been amazing. I've been doing the lives every week, and you all have been engaging, commenting, DM me, telling me how you've been using the tips in your career, how you've been using the tips and working on your mindset and feeling better and building your confidence. And it has just been amazing. So just wanted to say that. So before we even get started, I wanted to say this. I'm doing all these like special things, which I'm having so much fun at the end of the year. I know I'm having so much fun. But for the first time ever, I am doing a client success panel. If you've been following me for a while and you've read all my testimonials and you're like, who are the women behind these stories? I am doing it. So tomorrow on Thursday night at 7 p.m., we're hosting it via Zoom. I'm going to have around 4 to 6 of my clients from the Fearless Branding Formula and my Leadership Legacy program. And they're going to be sharing with you all how they did it, how they had their success, what it was like when they came to me, what it's like to work with me, what it's like now that they've completed the program. I think this is going to be an amazing experience for them and for you all on the other end who have been like, what is it like to work with Latrice? Does she really keep it real like she's doing? Yes. And does this really work? And will it work for you? Yes. Hey, Chanel, thanks for stopping by. So, if you all are interested in that program, just put branding in the comments and I'll give you the link to my workshop. We did a personal branding 3-day workshop. And when you sign up for that workshop, you're going to get free access. You'll get the access and Zoom link to my client panel. So, I'm very excited about that. We see. So, yes, you put branding in the comments, you're going to get the 3-part Secure the Bag branding workshop, and you're going to get access to our client success panel tomorrow night live at 7 p.m. via Zoom. So excited. We got so much going on. Okay, let's get started on this topic. This has come up before. So many of you have been like, Latrice, I want to pivot. I want to pivot. I want something new. I want to do something different, but I'm scared. I'm nervous. Here's the biggest thing people tell me, but I can't take a pay cut. And I'm always like, sis, who told you you need to take a pay cut to pivot in your career? It is simply not true. I'm going to share with you all examples and stories. I'm also going to give you all some practical tips of things that you can do and how you can actually pivot in your career without taking a pay cut. Okay. But first, hi, let me introduce myself. If you are new to my network, if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome. I am Latrice Huff, career and leadership coach to ambitious women of color, and it is my mission and my movement to put more women of color in positions of power. I help women of color land six-figure promotions without sacrificing their personal freedom and family time. That is what I am all about. So, Make sure you're following me so you get notified when I go live. Make sure to hit the notification bell twice. You're going to hit it twice so that you get notified each time that I go live. I'm so excited. This has been, all these topics been hot because all these topics have been like per request, but this is one of my favorite. Because if you have not heard my story before, I have pivoted several times in my career. I started off in hospitality in the restaurant industry. I loved it, didn't like the schedule, didn't like that at the time I didn't have benefits. So I phased out. I then transitioned into accounting. I hated accounting, you guys. I hated accounting. That was not the accounting was not the career for me. But I actually stayed in it for 4 years because I was doing it while I was getting my degree. Again, not my thing, but I did it. Then I pivoted into marketing. I loved marketing, hated my boss. I had a very toxic boss. I talked about this yesterday. Then I pivoted into human resources. And each time I pivoted, I made more money. I never took a pay cut. Never took a pay cut. And I want to share my story. I'm going to share my story with clients so you see that it's possible. Okay. Oh, who's saying hey, Latrice? It's just telling me LinkedIn user. I got to see who this is. I got to look on my phone. Because I love giving you our shout outs. And I love Jenny. Let's see. Oh, is it Chanel? Oh, we got two Chanel. We got two people there. Chanel one. Hey, thank you, thank you. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But thank you. I appreciate the support, you guys. And again, if you're interested in the workshop and meeting my clients live, put branding in the comments and we'll get that link out to you for tomorrow night. But hey, I'm so excited. As you all are joining, hey, Michelle, as you all are joining, feel free to tell me, hey, hi, let me know where you're joining from. And then feel free to share this out. There are so many women who want to pivot, who want to transition. They know they want something different. They want to make an impact. They want to do something that aligns with their purpose, but they're afraid because they think they're going to have to take a pay cut. So they sit there in the job that they hate, sucking the life out of them. Or I've even seen women who are laid off and they're like, I want to pivot, but I can't. I have to keep doing what I'm doing. If you're laid off, that's the perfect time to pivot. It's the perfect time to pivot. And I talked about that yesterday too. So be sure, share this, repost it, tag anyone who needs to hear this. We're going to have some fun and I'm dropping gems tonight. All right. So here's my first one. I gave you all that example and I got my little tips written down. Here's the first thing. You all know how everyone's like, oh, it's all about transitional skills. It's all about transitional skills. It is not about transitional skills, especially at the six-figure level. It is about transferable skills. It is about transferable accomplishments. What have you accomplished that will transition or that is easily transferable from one industry to another? I want you to think about this. Example, the skill could be payroll. You're like, oh, well, I have the skill of payroll. Maybe that's transferable from like HR to accounting. Maybe. But if you're saying, hey, I found $1 million era in payroll where we were paying people who no longer worked at the company, we were still giving them direct deposits. And this had been going on for 6 months. And I found that era. And it saved the company immediately when we took these people off payroll. We immediately saved the company $200,000. And because this had been going on for several months, I ultimately saved my company $1 million going forward. Now, saving your company $1 million, catching $1 million error is a transferable skill. Any company in any department wants someone who can find $1 million error. Let me know if this makes sense. And this is a true story. I actually had a client who did that. I always have clients who are finding billing errors. If you touch any type of bill, please review it because I can guarantee you it has some errors on there. But I share that to be like, there are so many accomplishments you've done that you think because you've done them in a specific industry that you can't talk about them. And that's simply not true. Not only is it not true, I encourage you to talk about them. Here's the thing though. As you're talking about them, you have to use the language of the new industry, of the new pivot. So if I'm pivoting from finance to HR, I'm not going to use all finance language to explain my accomplishments or what I did. I'm going to use HR language. So this goes hand in hand. When I see people think about transferable skills and they start to pick and choose which ones they're going to put. And a lot of times they're the most generic skills ever that they feel like are my transferable skills. I'm a people person. I have writing skills. Like it's so generic. And you want to also think like how is this helping the company, right? But when you get specific and you talk about transferable accomplishments, then that company can see you doing that for them. You're painting a picture of what's possible for them. You're explaining the problem you solve. Let me know if this is making sense because this is that nuance that we get to that is going to make the difference from you successfully transitioning and making more money or you struggling to pivot and having to take a pay cut. This is going to be the difference, you guys. So I want to make sure that you all understand what I'm saying. Because when I teach this to my clients, a lot of the times they're like, Latrice, give me an example. Or what about this? Like we go through like 2 or 3 examples. And then I also ask them what they've done. And I'm like, yes, that's a transferable accomplishment. So I want to make sure that you understand the concept of a transferable accomplishment versus a transferable skill. And all I hear people talking about is transferable skills. A transferable skill that you have watered down and made generic is not going to get you to 6 figures in a different industry or in a different in a different category, in a different career lane or career path. You have to know. And let me tell you all something. When you do this, you will start to see your value because what I teach my clients is that you need to align it with metrics. So when you all always hear me talk about accomplishments, I'm always adding metrics to them. Again, you're painting the picture of what's possible. You're being clear on the problem that you solve. You're clearly articulating your value when you add metrics to your accomplishments. Okay. And inside my program, the Fearless Branding Formula, we have a whole section on how to calculate your contributions so you can get metrics. Because this is the first thing I hear. I don't have any metrics, Latrice. Everybody has metrics. The janitor has metrics. Everybody has metrics. Okay. It's just about how do we get these metrics out of you. All right. So that's number 1 and kind of 2 is you want to focus on transferable accomplishments on your resume, on your LinkedIn, during the interview. Those accomplishments need to have metrics and they need to be in the language of the industry that you're pivoting in. Okay. This is so important that you use that language because again, I have a lot of people who are coming to me, especially now, and they're like, Latrice, will you help me pivot out of government? A lot of people want to transition. Oh, my favorite 2, transitioning out of government and transitioning out of teaching in academia. And I actually think I may do a couple of lives on that because I've been getting so many people interested in like transitioning out of government and out of education and academia, right? So again, same thing. Government people, I've noticed I can look at a resume and immediately tell that they've worked in the government without looking at a title, without first 5 seconds. I'm like, okay, they worked in the government. I can tell by your language. Teachers, you have a specific language that you all use that sometimes can make it harder for you to transition out. You have to use the language of the industry, the role, the company that you're looking to pivot into. Okay. Now, this is going to take a little bit of research, but if you're serious about pivoting and you're serious about not taking a pay cut, this is the work that you have to do. And it can be simple and it doesn't need to take a long time. Okay. Just wanted to say that it doesn't have to take a long time as we're doing this. I've had clients pivot in as little as like 5 weeks. I've had some people take 6 months. My one client, Bridget, she had been trying to transition and pivot on her own for 10 years because she was already making a high salary. She was a single mom. She was already making a decent salary. And she's like, I want to pivot into what my passion and purpose is, which was in healthcare and being a healthcare advisor, but she couldn't take a pay cut. I was like, no need. You do not need to take a pay cut. But we do need to use that language. We do need to use the language of the industry or the role that you're trying to get into, right? And that's what she did. And she had been trying on her own for 10 years. She worked with me. We made a few changes, bada boom, bada bang. I want to say it took her less than 6 months to pivot successfully without taking a pay cut. And she was going from IT to a healthcare advisor. All right. Let me see. I see I got some comments. I'm trying to look. Oh, hey. Hey, Natal. You guys, look how it's showing up on my system. It's just saying user, but I can see you now. Hey, Natal. Hello. She says, I know the feeling. Tell me which one, which feeling of like not being able to take that pay cut? Let me know. And oh, 5 years. You've been trying for 5 years. Okay. Yeah. And you don't need to try on your own. If you've been trying for 5, 10 years on your own, let's chat. I highly recommend getting some help. We can make the transition and the pivot into another industry much shorter, much smoother, and without taking a pay cut. And so you can make much more money. Right. Again, I have my client panel, my client success panel tomorrow. So if you all are interested in meeting my clients, getting a chance to see them, to see the women behind the testimonials, feel free, put branding in the comments. I'll give you the link to the my Beyond the Bag, Secure the Bag workshop. And when you sign up for the workshop, you're going to get access to the client panel. Okay. So I'm so excited because I've never done this before, but I want you all not just to hear from me, but I want you all to see and hear women who look like you, who have been in your exact same position and are now showing you what's possible for you, especially coming into 2025. I literally just got off another call. I've been working today, you guys. I got off one of my program calls and my leadership legacy clients, and we were all talking about how excited we are about 2025 and how we have this newfound peace and freedom because we only going to be worried about ourselves and our families and our communities. We ain't trying to save the world out here. And in saying that, 2025 is going to be the perfect time to go after what you want to do. To go after what you want to do. I think 2025 is going to bring so many challenges for a lot of people, but it's also going to bring a lot of opportunities. It's going to bring a lot of opportunities, especially for us. Especially for us. So if you are looking to transition and looking to pivot without taking a pay cut, yes, let's do that. So yeah, let me put my little banner up. Yeah, I should know a way to put it was a way that I knew how to put like the links in there, but I don't always know. Sometimes I don't always know if it's not up. But yes, put branding in the comments. I'll get you all that information. It's going to be so much fun and amazing. Okay, so my next tip is you have to brand all of your experience. Let me tell you all what I mean by this. And I call it branding up and down, like brand all of your experience. What I have found when people are trying to pivot from one industry to another is they start to separate their accomplishments, their duties, their experience. They're like, oh, well, I did this in school. I did this in volunteer. I did this with my church. I did this with my sorority. I did this and I did this, but in my father's business, but I didn't get paid for it. I did this in my company. And I'm like, well, what if this is on your resume? They're like, none of it. I'm like, and they'll be like, well, and they'll be like, but I'm getting declined from these roles and I don't know why. I'm like, are you showing them that you have all of this experience in the new role that you're trying to pivot in? A lot of times it's just a true misalignment, you guys. You are thinking one thing. I'm going to always use HR as my example. I want to pivot into HR. Let's say you're coming, I always use HR and accounting. I need a different thing. Let's say you're coming from, give me something else. Let's say you're coming from marketing. That was my story. You're coming from marketing. You want to pivot into HR. What I see is I'll say, well, why are you interested? They're like, well, I've always been interested in this. I've done some things for my family's business in HR. I did some volunteer work with my sorority and human resources. And I've even had people being like, I'm in human resources on a board. I manage the hiring. I'm on the hiring panel. And I'm like, okay. And what roles are you applying for? They're like HR specialists. You're applying for entry-level roles. You're already making a high salary. And then I look at your resume and none of these things that you say you've done that will correlate, that would lend itself to making you a stronger candidate for an HR role is on your resume. And let's be honest, if you're guilty of this, give me you like if you looking down, if you looking at your LinkedIn profile now and your resume, and you like, no, she right, I don't have that experience on there. Like, I don't have that on there. But you're thinking, I'm qualified for these roles. I'm more than qualified. Yeah, but nobody else knows. And if you have several years experience, you should not be going after an entry level role, even when you're transitioning, even when you're pivoting. Okay. Let me know if this is making sense. Even when you're changing careers, you do not need to go entry level and start at the bottom. You just need to be branding all of your experience, whether it is paid, unpaid, formal, informal. You need to be putting that on your resume and LinkedIn. You need to be talking about that. That in combination with your transferable accomplishments, it's going to position you at a higher level. So you do not need to come into a bottom level just because you're pivoting. That is a myth. And let me know if you all have heard this. It's like, oh, when you're transitioning careers, you have to start at the bottom. I saw this very popular post. It was by this person who was a millionaire, by the way, who had like made all this money in what do you call the people that work on the stock? I guess stockbroker or something like that. And he made all this money, and he was like, oh, now I want to pivot careers, and I started at the bottom. Son, that was a choice because you made millions in the stock market. Everybody doesn't have the luxury to do that, and you don't need to do that. When you all hear these stories, always look at the fine print and like, oh, okay, yeah, he could start at the bottom for 2 years because he has $1 million in the bank. If you don't have $1 million liquid in the bank that you're going to live off of, then I would advise you to take these tips that I'm sharing and don't start at the bottom. When you brand all of your experience, you're now positioning yourself as a higher level candidate. Let me know. Let me know if you are like, okay, Latrice, I get it, because I'm busting some myths here too, because I've been tired of hearing this. I've been tired of seeing it, and it's just simply not true. Each and every time I've pivoted, it's always been to a higher level. When my clients have pivoted, especially the ones that have had several years work experience in their, current industry, the first thing I tell them is don't start at the bottom. When you hear someone say, "Oh, I started entry level when I pivoted," that was a choice. They were not forced to do that. They chose to do that, and that doesn't need to be your story. All right. You can make six figures. If you're making close to six figures or six figures or even beyond six figures now, you can still transition at that same salary or even higher. Okay. But there are going to be some guidelines and some things you need to do to continue to grow inside your career, even though you're pivoting. All right. And I love a good pivot. Who was doing the same thing for like 20, 30 years? I loved marketing, and it wasn't what I wanted to do for 20, 30 years. I love HR. I'm like, but yeah, I may want to do something else, like start my own business or get into training or coaching, right? There's nothing wrong with pivoting. We are human beings. We're multifaceted. We're creative. Like, we should be expanding. It's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And then here's my final tip: you have to access your network. You have to access your network. I see a lot of people, they're like, Latrice, it's all about who you know, who you know. Okay, then build your network and access your network. Get to know people. If it's all about who you know, then get to know people. Specifically, get to know people in the industry that you want to pivot in. This is going to make your life a whole lot easier than you randomly applying and in your resume, possibly going into the black hole. Okay. It's building your network around the industry or the role that you want to pivot into, and then accessing that network. We're not just going to collect connections, we're actually going to utilize them. And in my program, the Fearless Branding Formula, I actually teach an authentic networking process, a process where you feel comfortable and you're honoring yourself, but you're still building your network. You're still meeting new people and giving value to them, right? A lot of times people are like, Latrice, I don't feel comfortable like meeting someone and then asking them for something right away. No worries. How do you like to network? How do you like to get to know people? That is fine. And networking is going to work faster than randomly applying. I'm going to be honest. All right. So I kind of, y'all know, I feel like I went off on a tangent, but this is my favorite subject. This is one of my favorites. I love myth busting when it comes to like pivoting in your career and taking pay cuts. I love it. Like, this is what you heard? Girl, that ain't true. That ain't got to be your story. Love sharing with you all examples. I just had another client. I've had clients who were like lawyers who pivoted into HR. I had people who were in like finance who then pivoted into like digital design and creative industries, like pivoting all around. And it can be such fun, so rewarding. It can feel more aligned with you and your purpose and where you are in this phase of your life. So it is perfectly okay to pivot, and you do not need to take a pay cut when you pivot. Okay, who's saying they're struggling with networking? Let me know. I struggle with networking. Yeah, networking. I built my business, and I share this. I built my business with networking, with my brand and networking. I built my business, and for the most part, in those beginning years, I built my business exclusively on LinkedIn, right? Like networking. So let me see. It's not showing me. If it's saying LinkedIn, oh, Natal, you struggle with networking. Let me know which part. Is it like the in person? Is it on LinkedIn? Which part? Oh, Natal, yeah, networking doesn't have to be hard. And this is what I always suggest. What is that combination with you slightly stepping outside your comfort zone, but still being within integrity of yourself? Right? What's in the middle of that? You have to try something different to get something different. So we do want to go outside of our comfort zone, but we don't want to do anything that's out of alignment or that's not within our integrity for us, right? So I like to have my clients come up with like three things or three ways where they can either network, reach out to people, communicate with people, right? That is in alignment with them and integrity with them, but is still like slightly out of their comfort zone. Like, what would you not do on a normal day? Is that right? It's like, yes, networking. But it can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be this like challenging task or chore. It can be in alignment with you. And there's so many different ways to network, right? Like how I show up, and clearly, I'm more talkative, and I'm a private extrovert, right? So I am that type that's going to go up to people in a meeting, or at an event that I don't know somebody, and like speak. And I tend to attract a lot of introverts, right? I tend to attract them. But that's because I'm the type, if I see you chilling, I'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm coming up to you. You ain't got to come up to me. And in saying that, everyone can network in their own way, right? So maybe it's more writing, maybe it's email, maybe instead of reaching out to people you absolutely don't know, maybe you ask for a referral, maybe you ask someone you do know to give you an introduction. This has worked beautifully for my clients. I think one day this week I'll be talking about you are approachable. Thank you. Yes. Look, if you don't come up to me, I'm gonna come up to you. But I get a lot of introverts. They like sit. Let me tell you something. You can tell me, you can spot me a mile away or in an event, and if you sit beside me, I'm gonna talk to you. So I get a lot of people like inching by me, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm gonna talk to you, and then we're gonna be friends. And we're friends, right? Um, but I will share with you all about like getting referrals and these introductions. Recently, a lot of my clients have been getting remote roles that way. Even with using my contacts, I tell my clients, look through my network. If it's someone I know, and you see that they are hiring for a remote role, I'll make an introduction. I've had 3 of my clients get remote roles from introductions that I've made for them. Right. So they didn't have to go out on their own and reach out to somebody and do like a cold message or anything like that. They just were like, hey, Latrice, I noticed this person is in your network. Can you do an introduction? I was like, sure. I was like, what do you want me to say? I'm always like, give me a couple bullet points. I'll say it, hype you up. Here you go. Take it from there. And it has worked beautifully. So that's a way that you can utilize your network without kind of cold calling or cold messaging people, right? Works beautifully, beautifully. All right. Any other questions or comments before we hop off? I knew this was going to be a hot topic because people have told me, like, no, I was told, a recruiter told me I got to start from the bottom. My uncle told me. I'd be like, that is not true. And somebody else's story does not need to be your story. I'm like, but there are some guidelines. If you want to pivot without taking a pay cut, it's not impossible, right? It is 100% possible. But you just have some guidelines. Like you just have to do some things differently. But tapping into your network is going to be one of the fastest and easiest ways that you're going to be able to pivot, especially when you have all these other things done. If you have your resume talking about transferable accomplishments, you're speaking the language of the company or the industry that you want to pivot into. You have metrics on your resume. You have all of your experience on there, paid and unpaid, formal and informal. That then when someone goes to make an introduction to you or for you, it's more likely that that person is going to be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. We do have an opening in HR. We do have an opening in our digital design or marketing department, right? So just wanted to make sure that you all see how we're putting all of these together. If you want to take this further, if you want to take this deeper, if you're like, Latrice, I want to know the scripts that you use. I like an introduction. If you're like, I want to take this further, I invite you to join the Fearless Branding Formula. That is my personal branding and mindset program specifically for you. It is exclusively designed for women of color and the unique challenges that we face in the workplace. So it's designed to help you increase your salary by $20,000 to $50,000 and land a six-figure promotion in 90 days, regardless of the job market or the president, right? And we want to be able to do this and make six figures without sacrificing our personal freedom and family time. If this sounds like you and you're like, yes, Latrice, I want in, I invite you to join the Fearless Branding Formula. You can go to sixfigurepromotion.com or you can just DM me as well. If you DM me FBF, I'll give you some more information. But you get to read all about it. You get to see my clients' testimonials, and you can enroll directly, or you can book a call with me and speak with me. Just if you want to be like, Latrice, I want to make sure this is for me, you can have a conversation with me, okay? And if you're like, hey, Latrice, I love hearing about your clients. I love to meet them. Tomorrow night, you guys, I am hosting my client success panel, and you get to meet, I want to say it's going to be 6 of them. You get to meet 6 of my clients. You've probably seen their testimonials up here before. Ask them questions, see what's possible for you. It's going to be amazing. Put branding in the comments, and I'll get you all, I'm going to get you all the link to my workshop. And then when you're on my list, you get the Zoom link to join tomorrow. All right. I am so excited. This has been so much fun. Every time when I come on here, I'm like, I'm going to be 15 minutes top. And here we are, 30 minutes. But you have been amazing. Thank you, Natal. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you both. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you all for joining. And be sure to share this out. Be sure to ask me any questions, any topics that you all have that you want to hear more about. I would love to hear them as well. It's going to be all right. And this is going to be so much fun because we have a few more days of this. Hey, Wisteria, I haven't heard from you in a while. Hey, it's going to be so much fun. Glad you could drop in. I love seeing like people I haven't seen in a while. I feel like, where'd everybody go? This must be a prime time. I actually thought I was coming on here a little late. I'm seeing a lot of people hop on. But hey, I'm definitely going to get that link out to you, and I'll see you tomorrow as well. You all have a good night. Bye.